Morning.
Good morning, ma'am.
How is everyone?
Wonderful.
Good.
Wonderful.
Good. All right, I'm gonna go on mute. Aaron, let me know when we're ready to roll.
Okay.
Thank
Give
you.
everybody a few more minutes. It's not quite 10 o'clock. Good morning, Dr. Kimbrough.
Good morning. Dr. Kimbrough, good morning, sir.
Hey, good morning. Good morning, everyone.
Sorry, y'all. I should be muting myself. Okay, Dr. Reed, if you are ready, it is officially 10:01. We can get this party started.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. Delighted to see you all. Of course, we're still in the Hollywood Squares, keeping it safe, but hopefully we'll be convening in person again soon. And I hope everyone is doing well. And of course, happy Black History Month. First of all, let me just take care of our official business. We are a public meeting of the HBCU Advisory Council. So for anyone in the public who is listening in, public comments will be taken during the meeting via open conference call line 888-204-5984. The code is 1755460 #, which is listed on the agenda on the website. So our public comments will be read by Regents staff. If you have a public comment, please dial in, give your agenda item, your name, and your comment. Those are limited to 3 minutes, but we always appreciate comments if there are individuals who would like to share those. So with that said, Aaron, I'll ask if you'll call the roll.
Yes, ma'am. Dr. Kim Hunter-Reed.
Present.
Dr. James Ammons.
Present.
Dr. Ray Belton.
Here.
Senator Joseph Bowie. Senator Gerald Boudreaux.
Present.
Mr. Preston Castile.
Present.
Ms. Ava Dejoie. Dr. Rodney Ellis. President Rick Gallo.
Present.
Dr. Jim Henderson.
Present, thank you.
Representative Jason Hughes. Representative Patrick Jefferson. Dr. Walter Kimbrough.
Here.
Dr. Orlando McMeans. Ms. Kelsey Perrine. Mr. John Pierre. Ms.
Present.
Susie. Oh,
Present, I'm here.
there you are.
Okay, just couldn't take it off on mute fast enough.
There you go. I know you gotta be quick on the trigger with those mutes and unmutes. Ms. Susie Showen.
Here.
Dr. Larissa Littleton-Stye.
Good morning. Here.
Good morning. Dr. Toya Barnes-Teamer.
Good morning. Here.
Mr. Emmanuel Ucote.
Here.
Dr. Reynold Verrett. Ms. Arlanda Williams. And Ms. Stephanie Willis.
Present.
Wonderful. Madam Chairman, we have a quorum.
Excellent. Thank you so much. So we have a robust agenda for you today. You have the information that has been sent out. Thank you, Aaron, for making sure we are keeping all of our agenda together. I want to first introduce a new member of our team to you, which is Dr. Tristan Denley, who joins Regents as the Deputy Commissioner for Academic Affairs and Innovation. He will be doing a lot of phenomenal work for us, as he has done in Georgia and Tennessee. You all probably have met Tristan along the way or heard him speak at national convenings. He has been nationally and internationally recognized for his commitment to student success, his work on math reform, retention and completion, and really bringing innovation to bear when it comes to challenging academic problems and thinking about solutions. He's worked at the intersection of education and employment, certainly is a rock star, and is actually in South Carolina today to keynote a higher education conference for them. So I just wanted to thank Tristan for joining us while he is out of town, and to ask him to say a few quick words so that you all know who he is.
Well, Commissioner, thanks so much for that, and thanks so much to this group for just a few seconds just to say hello. As the Commissioner said, there's a lot of familiar faces on the Hollywood Squares today, and really looking forward to working with the team in Louisiana, and looking forward to working with you all. As the Commissioner said, student success is really it's what I get up every morning thinking about. It's what I go to sleep every evening thinking about, and I know you do too. And so ways in which we can work together to help more of our students be more successful more often and go on to earn credentials of value to allow them to work with their families and have successful careers. That's what it's all about, raising attainment levels in this great state. And so I look forward to the work over the coming months and years to doing exactly that. So thanks so much.
Thank you, Tristan. And we look forward to great work, and certainly for all of you as we're thinking about academic programs and any of those items in his area, data review, et cetera, please call on him and make sure that we are working together and benefiting from his expertise as we move our state forward. So thanks again. So, of course, we're excited to celebrate and acknowledge Black History Month, and very pleased that we have a short video to share that was executive produced by Robert F. Smith, who we know as a powerhouse entrepreneur and business leader, but also certainly a huge advocate for HBCUs, as the founder, chair, and CEO of Vista Equity Partners. He created this series of Black History in 2 minutes that you all may have seen around a number of topics in American history, and those have been nationally recognized with awards. But we thought it would be great to share the Black History in 2 minutes, the higher ed episode, with you briefly today. So I'll ask Chris to share this video. For many of you, you know this history well, but I think it's important that we lift it up as we do our work.
Before the Civil War, educational opportunities for free Black children, particularly in higher education, were quite limited even in the North. Some students, however, managed to leap over the hurdles standing in their way. John Chavis, a free black man from North Carolina, was the first African-American college student. Chavis studied as a private student under the president of the College of New Jersey, now known as Princeton University, and continued his studies at Liberty Hall Academy in Virginia. In 1862, Mary Jane Patterson became the first African-American woman to receive a bachelor's degree when she graduated from Oberlin College. Patterson became a teacher and then the first black principal at the Preparatory School for Negroes, now known as Paul Laurence Dunbar High School. Before the Civil War, discrimination against black students led to the founding of the first black colleges in the North, including Wilberforce in Ohio and Lincoln and Cheney universities in Pennsylvania.
Cheney University in Philadelphia is the first historically black college or university. It was founded in 1837 as the Institute of Colored Youth. The founding of that institution transforms educational possibility for African American people.
The era saw huge growth in the number of black colleges and universities, from Howard and Fisk to Hampton and Tuskegee.
Historically black colleges and universities take African Americans who struggle in our failing public schools and turn them into a rigorous scholar with access to a future who has earned the credentials for a college degree.
HBCUs arose as a direct response to racial discrimination, providing opportunities for black students to gain a higher education and enter the middle class. According to the New York Times, HBCUs make up only 3% of the colleges across the country, and yet at least 50% of black doctors and 80% of black judges have graduated from their classes. There remains a significant racial gap in degree attainment, but this gap is shrinking thanks to these black institutions and to increased black enrollment in historically white colleges and universities.
Great, thank you. Thank you so much, Chris, for playing that for us. And I hope you enjoyed that. Good reminder of our mission and the value of our HBCUs, the history and the challenges. And if you want to check out blackhistoryin2minutes.com, there are 2-minute videos of Black history in a number of fields that may be of interest to you and certainly your campus as well. So very excited about sharing that with you all today. So excited that I skipped approval of the minutes. So since we have a quorum, let me go back and ask if you all have had a chance to review the minutes, and if so, can I get a motion to approve those?
Toya. So Rick
Okay.
so moved and Toya second.
All right, so we have a motion and a second. Any opposition? Hearing and seeing none, that motion carries. Thank you very much. So this meeting today continues, I think, our work of really focusing on opportunities and trying to network and bring opportunities to bear for our students and for our institution. So I'm very happy that we have Dr. Chad Dyer with us, who holds a bachelor's degree in biology from Xavier, a doctorate of medicine from Temple, and a Juris Doctorate from Southern University Law Center. His legal career has been at the intersection of government, business, and development, and he's worked on large projects in the University Medical Center, the VA Medical Center in New Orleans, the redevelopment of the Riverwalk, among many others. In private practice, he consults with industry clients in utilizing strategic partnerships to improve efficiency of their operations. And we're very excited to have him as an accomplished alum of HBCU to share some potential industry HBCU partners for research and internships with us. So Dr. Dyer, thank you for joining, and the floor is yours.
Thank you, everyone. And again, thank you for that introduction, Dr. Reed. And I don't know if you remember, but I used to work upstairs in your building about 10 years ago. So we'd see each other in the elevator and whatnot. So again, it's great to see you again.
Yes.
Thank you, everyone. We are here today. And if my slides are up on the screen yet, there we go. we've developed in conjunction with the Folgers Coffee Company, Southern University, and the U.S. Department of Commerce Minority Business Development Center, which is actually within the Southern University Law Center. We've developed a strategic partnership plan at the request of Folgers because it is actually their desire to increase their involvement with their community and where their facilities are actually located. If we can go to the next slide, please. So obviously, as the Hbcu task force, I don't have to introduce you to Southern University, and the Minority Business Development Center, their director, will be on a bit later to give you a bit more detail about what her agency does. But just as an introduction, a lot of people don't realize what an important asset the Folgers Coffee Company is to Louisiana. The largest coffee production facility in North America is located right here in New Orleans, and it's the Folgers Coffee Company. In the background of this slide, you can see the Folgers plant there. That's actually the smaller of the two facilities that they have here in New Orleans. Folgers imports and processes about 650 million pounds of coffee annually into the port of New Orleans. In addition to Folgers brand coffee, their facilities produce several other well-known coffee brands, Cafe Bustelo, Dunkin' Donuts, and we're joined by Kelvin Burnett and Jerry Cook of the Folgers Coffee Company, which have been our local executives, which have been so key in trying to put this together and letting us learn about their business to try to get there. So again, this is a gigantic player in the coffee industry. 57% of every cup of coffee sold at retail in the United States is produced by Folgers or its related companies. So half of you that are drinking coffee on this call should say thank you to Kelvin and Jerry, because they're out there getting it done every day. Their operation in New Orleans, as we learned about it, myself, Dr. Toledo, the Vice Chancellor of the Ag Center, with Dr. McMeans, Chancellor Pierre of the Law Center, and Charlie Fortson of the Minority Business Development Center, have looked at their operation, and the diversity and scale of the operation does provide excellent opportunities for local universities, local and minority contractors, and as well as the local workforce. And again, as we visit your campuses and talk about this, again, you're looking for a right company, and Folgers is committed to these sorts of community partnerships and has been very aggressive in trying to develop these opportunities through strategic partnership, particularly with the HBCUs and our local companies. Next slide, please. So in asking, how we go about this, here in Louisiana, as you guys are the HBCU task force, I won't spend a tremendous amount of time. We're probably all familiar with cooperative endeavor agreements, which is how it is that a public agency such as the university can contract with a private entity for a public purpose. As part of what I used to do when I worked upstairs from Dr. Reed, I used to review a lot of the CEAs for the state. So we really knew what to do, and we've developed an agreement between Folgers, Southern University, the Department of Commerce, and my company, Gulf Partners, to develop these opportunities. The public purpose is going to be the development of the educational opportunities, workforce training, and minority and local vendor participation in the industry. And what we're trying to do is create an entire ecosystem related to the coffee industry around the largest production facility on the continent, which just happens to be located right here in Louisiana. So we've developed a three-pronged approach that I'm going to outline in the following slides that will accomplish the purpose by including local and minority vendors in the Folgers supply chain, development of a workforce training program in agricultural manufacturing along with the Department of Commerce and the university, and research and development of the waste stream of Folgers plants to the highest and best use for their waste stream. A plant this size that brings in 661 million pounds of coffee produces about 4,000 tons of agricultural waste. So the partnership with the university, which you'll see later, will help to develop an economic opportunity out of that. Next slide, please. So the first prong is a very interesting portion, and this is the portion that that I've worked on for a long time with the Westfelt Brothers Coffee Company and Folgers. This is the coffee portion of the program. What our goal is in the first prong is to get local and minority vendors into the Smucker supply chain. So Folgers and I met, and we identified the Westfelt Brothers Coffee Company as a qualified importer according to the Smucker, the Folgers coffee qualifications. Folgers is a wholly owned subsidiary of Smucker, the J.M. Smucker Company, which is a Fortune 500 that is involved in all sorts of agricultural manufacturing. So again, the idea of getting into that sort of supply chain can provide significant economic opportunities for both local and minority vendors here, because the production actually occurs right here in New Orleans. So what we've proposed is that Westfelt, in partnership with my company, would import approximately 30 million pounds of green coffee annually, which represents roughly 5% of the capacity of the plant. We would import that, do that transaction. That transaction would create somewhere, we estimate, between $60 and $70 million of economic activity locally just from the sale. It also doubles by volume Westfelt's business. So they would have to hire more people and everything else in order to complete the sale. So we've set ourselves up to win very early by simply doing something that Folgers already does, which is buy green coffee. It turns out we had that infrastructure here in New Orleans, and we just needed to put it together. So now that transaction can stay right here in Louisiana than being conducted in Switzerland or wherever it usually is. Again, about Westfelt. Westfelt is the oldest coffee importer in the United States, in business since 1851. Westfelt has already had discussions with the Ag Center and the Law Center about developing intern to employment opportunities through this process. We're joined today by Everett Brown of the Westfelt Company, who is the trader that's been working with us on this project. And Everett is a perfect example of why we want to do such a thing. Everett started with Westfelt as an intern and is now a coffee trader, an international coffee trader that in this project is working on an approximately $60 to $70 million transaction. So we think that by combining this and placing this in the supply chain, partnering with Westfelt, we will be able to provide these sorts of opportunities for the HBCU students in this. Westfelt has also started a beverage solutions startup. They've discussed it with the university. They're very interested in having the ag students, the business students, and the law students participate with them in developing a startup, which is an exciting prospect that I think we spent way more time on the phone being excited about it, but after this, we're going to get to work on it. So the reason that we looked at this was when we were trying to figure it out, we really couldn't find that minority company. But again, all of these things relate to each other. Dean Andrews of the business school was, Chad, if you don't have it and it doesn't exist, you have to create it. So that's how I ended up creating my company, which was an industrial consulting company. But by partnering with Westfelt and the Minority Business Development Center, we're going to develop our business into part of this ecosystem. And once the sale is done, my company would be the largest African-American coffee brokerage in the entire world. And I'm right here in New Orleans, right here with the HBCUs in partnership with Southern. Next slide, please. So prong 2 is another portion that we're really excited about. And for this portion, I'm going to turn it over to Charlie Fortson, who is the director of the U.S. Department of Commerce Minority Business Development Center. And what she's going to talk about is the sector grant that we have for workforce training to provide the employees to develop this ecosystem around the coffee plant. And with that, I'll turn it over to Charlie.
Good morning. My name is Charlie Fortson. I'm an assistant professor at Southern University Law Center, and I'm also the executive director of the Louisiana MBDA Business Center. Southern University Law Center is the system lead entity of a proposal to form a new regional workforce training system. It's comprised of sectoral partnerships in 4 industries: skill building trades such as construction, fashion design and business, information technology and cybersecurity, and advanced manufacturing, which is where Folgers is the lead sectoral partner. With this partnership, Folgers will help to train students and workers to qualify for jobs within the advanced manufacturing sector. Through this training, participants will also acquire transferable skills to work any place within the advanced manufacturing environment. Additionally, Folgers will partner with the Louisiana Minority Business Development Agency Business Center to build a pipeline of minority business enterprises that are prepared to become minority suppliers. Next slide, please. So a little bit about who we are. Again, we are the Louisiana Minority Business Development Agency Business Center, or MBDC. We are federally funded by the Minority Business Development Agency under the Department of Commerce. We are operated by the Southern University Law Center, and we're located in the Innovation Center on Southern University's Baton Rouge campus. We exist to develop strategic partnerships with public and private sector entities to build a pipeline of minority business enterprises that are prepared to participate in the procurement process in both the public and private sectors. We target MBEs that have revenues of at least 100,000 and are minority owned and operated. Next slide, please. Now, a little bit about what we do. We work with these MBEs to help them develop strategic plans to scale their business, to also gain access to the necessary capital for growth, and to broker procurement opportunities to contribute to their growth. We also provide them with the necessary technical assistance for growth, including training around small business compliance and certain legal services such as trademark and copyright protection. And we do that in partnership with our Tech and Entrepreneurship Clinic that's also run by the Southern University Law Center. We help them to understand their personal financial statements, balance sheets, and their P&Ls. We provide training and assistance for certifications such as the DBE and the MBE. The DBE certification is the Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification, and that helps our small businesses to do business with the government, federal and state. And then we also help with the MBE certification, which is the Minority Business Enterprise, which is what helps them to be qualified to do business with the private sector organizations. And then we also provide training around the government contracting process. So with this partnership with Folgers and other organizations, we will be able to broker the connections between our MBE clients and procurement opportunities within the public and private sector. Thank you. I'll turn it back over to Chad now.
And again, thank you, Charlie. As again, I am a living example of what it is that Charlie's agency can do. Again, we started this as kind of a consultant, but in working with Charlie's agency and the School of Business, it became apparent that, hey, we need to make this. Now, again, this is not my background. I think I'm a pretty sharp guy, but I have no experience with this. However, with Charlie, the School of Business, Chancellor Pierre of the Law Center, Westfeld, and the commitment from Folgers, we do have everything that we need to make this happen. So again, I'd like to thank Charlie for joining us today, but also just to let you know, I can speak from personal experience about what it is that her office is capable of doing up there at the Law Center. And I think that a lot of you will really enjoy your interactions with Ms. Fortson in the coming months as she develops her agency up there. And so with that, we can move on to the next slide. Dr. Toledo, the Vice Chancellor of the Ag Center, is actually the one that has put this part together. I am well-versed enough to talk about it. He was called away today and could not make it. So I'm gonna take care of his part. But again, this is very detailed Ag Center stuff. If I make a mistake, if Chancellor McMeans is here, don't get upset with me. So is the, there he is. Prong 3 is the waste stream that comes from the plant that Dr. McMeans and Dr. Toledo have visited the facility, taken a look at it. And again, what they were able to do was walk into the plant, understand what the plant was producing, what the waste products were, and what could be done with them. So Folgers is going to coordinate with the Ag Center to research the highest and best use of their waste stream, which Dr. Toledo believes, and you can see here to the right beneath the Ag Center logo, Dr. Toledo has already begun researching the potential uses, commercial uses of the waste stream of the plant. What we've also come to see is that this waste stream provides opportunities for other minority business in the transportation of it, the handling of it, recycling, everything else. In addition, as Dr. Toledo and Folgers identify what these commercial projects are, we'll have to come back to Ms. Fortson to determine how it is that we get minority participation in the manufacture of those products that will either be moved back to Folgers to be utilized as part of their operation, or if it's a generally useful commercial product, it'll be put out to market. So again, this sort of thing, when we look at it, when we approach Folgers with it, yes, it's a great thing, but when you look at it, it actually may provide Folgers with cost savings, because if we can make products they need out of their waste stream, that's also things that they don't have to go to market for. So we can do that. And again, Dr. Toledo, he's not here today, so don't tell him I was talking so well about him, Dr. McMeans. But he has been just so excellent at diving into this and just taking this part of the program over, seeing all the opportunities. I've seen President Gallo there. Dr. Toledo's already in contact with the large company up in your neck of the woods to do some things with this waste. So we've done that. And if you look at the next slide, this is kind of a very simple thing that even I can understand, where Dr. Toledo has taken a look at Folgers. It's a very simplified diagram of what their process is. But what you can see at the bottom is each of these places where he's put one of these garbage cans in the green circle, Dr. Toledo has already identified uses for the products that come from the waste of that particular process. So this has been a very interesting project, not just from the business standpoint, but from the sustainability standpoint, which is also very crucial to Folgers as a company. Next slide. So the reason that we're presenting it to the task force today, well, y'all heard my introduction. I'm pretty serious about my HBCUs. If you look on this slide, I don't particularly have an idea for them yet, but I went to Xavier and I was going to include them in here some kind of way. So I have a nice picture of the entrance of Xavier. But it's our belief that we can modify and scale this sort of plan for each of the institutions. And what we'd like to do, Charlie and I, over the next few months, we'd like to visit with each of the HBCUs, try to get a lay of the land, see if we can figure out how it is that we can incorporate your students, your community into this plan, or to develop one specific to your area. Again, having a partner like Folgers that has such a dominant industry presence has been the key to this success. That the way that we designed the program, which we think was fairly innovative, was with the coffee sale, that provides us the ability to do these things. Now, the sector grant was just fortuitous. It happened as we were doing this, and Chancellor Pierre and Ms. Fortson were able to identify that that is something that can be included in this project. And I think back to Dean Andrews. Again, I've spent a lot of time speaking with him because, as you can hear from my resume, I don't have a lot of formal business training, but I got a lot of education. So what Dr. Dean Andrews has really crystallized for us is that we need to identify these opportunities and create these entities and enterprises for this purpose. So one thing that I skipped over in my discussion about my company, I am agreeing in the CEA that half of the proceeds that my company makes are going to go back to the university, regardless, because that's what my intent was when I started, was to make certain that I was providing something back to the university in addition to the opportunities that we would be able to give students through the other schools. I wanted to make sure that my company was doing something as well. So we've developed a really good program, we think, here. We're very excited to begin our work with Folgers to get it fully developed and to begin implementing it. But with the addition of Ms. Fortson, we really anticipate visiting each of the member institutions of the task force to try to either include or develop a similar program for your institutions. I didn't see Dr. Verrett, but Dr. Kimbrough, if you're available, I'm here in New Orleans. I come by your office this afternoon. We can talk about it. But in any case, there's not really much else to say at the moment. We're going to begin working on implementation of the plan here in New Orleans. And again, we'd like to invite the other member institutions to maybe participate in that process so that you may be able to see what we're developing, and it may give you some ideas. One of the things about a project like this with all of these varying parts is every time we have a meeting, we come up with another good idea. And it's because we have so much diversity and scale to work with here that we have what we need. And again, what we're looking to do is to get this to a process where we can bring this to all the HBCUs in Louisiana. And with that, I don't have anything else for today, but I'd like to thank you guys so much for giving us the time. And with that, I'm glad to take any questions. You should ask Ms. Fortson a lot of questions. I know that Jerry Cook and Kelvin Burnett from Folgers are here. I don't know if they can speak, but again, these have been our real key supporters in the industry to make this happen, along with Everett Brown from Westfelt and the executive leadership at Westfelt. And with that, again, I thank everyone for your time this morning, and I'm willing to take any questions.
Thank you so much. Great presentation, and always excited to have partnerships for our students and our HBCUs. I see President Gallo has his hand up. We'll start with you.
Well, good morning, and thank you so much for that presentation. I just want to know when you're going to be in Grambling, so you and I can have that same conversation you've offered to Dr. Kimbrough.
So, Mr. Gallo, it's been many years since you and I have seen each other, but I think I can get your phone number from my wife, Suchitra. So I will call you this afternoon and give you a call, because that's how I know Mr. Gallo from back when he was, Mr. Gallo was in the legislature. I was one of the clerks in the Legislative Black Caucus. So it's been many years. That was when I first met Professor Pierre there before he was chancellor. So I'm excited about that. And again, I will call you as soon as this afternoon to get something scheduled, Mr. Gallo.
Awesome.
Right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Other
I
questions?
feel like Chancellor Pierre should say something. He was so instrumental in this, and I kind of glossed over him. So we can't let him get away without saying anything. And he has just been so instrumental. And in fact, a little bit of a story. He invited us on a Tuesday to an event he was having on Thursday, where he was doing a similar project with another industry. And again, just the ability to utilize the ideas that they were having, incorporating it into our project, and then developing it along with Ms. Fortson from the Law Center. So again, I would like Chancellor Pierre to speak a little bit, because he has been so terribly instrumental in this.
Great. Chancellor Pierre.
Thank you. Good morning, everyone. It's great to see hard work, and Dr. Dyer and Professor Forster are two of my former law, and of course, one of my great alums is President Gallo. So people say, I thought you had a law school over there. Well, yeah, that's our formal name, but what we are innovators. And as you know, Dr. Reed, higher education is struggling to get funding from state government. So we've been tasked with finding resources from other places. And because of great alums and great professors, we're finding those additional resources, but we got to do it in a way where we collaborate. I found that that works very, very well. Whenever we collaborate, we find that we have a whole ecosystem of resources that can make each and every one of us better.
Great and very well said, Chancellor Pierre, and thank you. I see so many opportunities, whether it's work-based learning, internship, apprenticeship. I love the range of opportunities for the students and the various disciplines. And so really appreciate Dr. Dyer, you bringing this forward, and certainly the Folgers partnership, the Westfield partnership as well. For business students, law students, advanced manufacturing. I mean, it goes on and on, right? And so I do think that this is unique, and we really appreciate you opening the doors to say, everyone, please come and be a part, and let's talk about how you can fit in to be a part of this.
And again, thank you all so much for your time today. I really appreciate it. And again, I look forward to seeing you individually over the coming weeks and months.
That's great. Thanks again.
All right.
I don't see any other questions on that one, so I'm going to keep pushing us along under
one quick comment before Mr. Chad.
Yes.
We've had a request to share your slide deck with the members. Is that okay with you?
I am okay with that.
Beautiful. Thank you so much.
All right.
We'll do that after the meeting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, great. All right, so now we can talk about the next opportunity that we want to make sure that students are aware of. This one is a summer opportunity this summer for LumCon. And so we asked Dr. Craig McLean, who's the executive director of LumCon, to participate today. He's been at the helm since 2016, nationally recognized marine ecology and evolutionary biologist. And he has been well published, does a lot of great research, but a lot of outreach to students. And one of the things we know as we think about diversity in the pipeline of all of these various fields is that we just don't see enough students who look like us in this work. And so we have to be intentional about our outreach to make sure doors are open to more of our students. And so Craig has a summer STEM prep program that he wants to make you aware of. So Craig, let me turn it over to you.
Well, thank you so much for allowing me a few moments this morning to speak with you all about this new STEM prep program we're initiating at LumCon. And if you're not aware, LumCon is the state's Marine Lab. We serve as the Marine Lab for all of the state and private universities and colleges in Louisiana, as well as the LCTCS system schools as well. So you can all think of us as your Marine Lab. And I've had conversations with many of you already and trying to build up connections with our respective campuses. As Commissioner Reed said, we have a very serious problem in the geosciences in general, and especially in the oceanographic and marine and coastal sciences. To give you a couple of statistics, only about 4.6% of all undergraduates are of either Black or African-American descent, are in the marine and oceanographic sciences. And when you get to the graduate level, that shrinks down to about 1.95%. And then by the time you actually get to completed PhDs, we're looking at much less than 1%. And that is outside of the underrepresented groups in science. That number is only higher than that of indigenous groups. And so we obviously have a huge problem. And that problem has persisted and continues to persist. And so whereas LumCon cannot fix the totality of the issue, obviously, we can get at one of the major areas of it, which is we have pipeline issues. And so this idea is that we have a summer prep program that is tied to this. And I said my presentation is, should I share the one that I have? Oh, never mind. There it is. Excellent. And then we'll go ahead and go on to the next slide. And so the other important part of this all is that it's not just getting at this, but a lot of the issues that we face in Louisiana in terms of our coast and our oceans and their health require a diversity of perspectives that we currently don't have. And we know that more diverse solutions, has been shown repetitively over and over again in the scientific literature, that the more diverse a team is, the more creative and innovative and impactful the solution is. And so there are many reasons why that this kind of program needs to start. And so again, we're going to be initiating this new STEM program. Next slide, please. As with any LumCon program, it is place-based and skill-based. Our unique attribute to the state is, in terms of our education, is we have run a marine lab that is located in the beautiful wetlands of southern Louisiana, south of Houma. And so all of our education opportunities occur here and connect students with the coast. They are also skill-based. We have a very hands-on educational style here. The summer program will also link in first-hand research experience in labs with faculty throughout LumCon, as well as providing a lot of different professional development and skill-based learning opportunities as well. And of course, this makes this program a little bit more distinctive than a lot of our counterparts sort of summer STEM prep programs as well, that it is very hands-on and it has this sort of dual component. Next slide, please. And so it is a 6-week residential program at our Marine Center in Cocodrie. About 168 hours of that Monday through Friday experience will be dedicated as research and work experience in one of the research teams of the LumCon faculty members. So students will get a firsthand experience in terms of working in a lab and integrating in with a lab and learning those kinds of beginning sort of research and lab field techniques as well. And then another 72 total hours will be used for skill building and skill practice and workshops and field trips. And we'll talk a little bit those in the next slide. So this is all the way from things like small boat usage, plumbing and carpentry associated with aquaculture, aquaculture systems and maintenance, the sort of standard lab equipment, everything from microscopes to sediment analyzers, a variety of field and lab methods. Obviously, we're going to talk about data management, field readiness. And again, we have a lot of opportunities to sort of show them different aspects of the coast, from both pristine to, heavily sort of influenced by human factors as well. And then next slide. And then a variety of assessments. So there'll be faculty member feedback on student performance throughout the program. Self-directed work we'll be administering surveys sort of both before and after the program so we can make future improvements. And of course, obviously the participation in workshops and field trips, that firsthand experience is really vital as well. And so through an arrangement with the University of Louisiana, as of just yesterday, I've sort of finalized the last bits of that. This program will also have credits associated with it. So it'll be 4 credits in what's called Introduction to Marine Science and Introduction to Field Marine Science. And so there'll be 4 credits associated with this. I think the thing that I'm most excited about is through the generous support of the Board of Regents, as well as some foundational funds that we're able to leverage and fundraising efforts within LumCon. At least this summer, we're able to offer sort of 10 spots for free. So there'll be no cost to the student whatsoever, which is absolutely vital for a program like this. The only cost incurred by the student would be transportation to and from the Marine Center itself. And so LumCon will be reaching out to your individual campuses, and obviously we have a campus liaison at many of your schools to sort of advertise the program to help us identify applicants for the program. And like I said, we're really excited about this program. And I've sort of worked through this quickly to sort of open it up for questions you may have.
Thank you so much, Craig. We are very excited about this. There is a 1-pager that we'll make sure goes out to you that also has the point of contact. so that we want to make sure that we get 10 students to participate in this, 10 minority students to participate and benefit from this. So please help us to spread the word on that. If you know students that would flourish and really enjoy this opportunity, please let's do that. See, Preston has a question.
Great. Mr. McClain, great presentation. I was wondering if there are opportunities available for high school students to participate in the program in some way.
So we do, in this specific program, no, but we do have two other programs, a field marine science camp and one additional, and then another camp that's name has slipped my mind that we offer. Those are 1 week camps for juniors and seniors. Those are also most of our educational programs at LumCon are very much focused on underrepresented groups in science, no matter what that axis may be. So those are both available as well. And those are also, we have funding from Chevron and Exxon to actually to lower the cost of those camps as well. They're 1 week residential camps. I can get this group those that information as well.
Yeah, please do that, Craig, as well. Thank you, Preston, for that question. Chancellor McMeans.
Good morning, everybody. I had a hard time getting on earlier. A great presentation. I was wondering, as relates to the experience of those students, is there any educational topics around climate change and the loss of eroding of the coastline? Because that is one of the biggest interests at the Ag Center in our urban forestry program.
Yeah, absolutely. Both from a research perspective and in terms that most of the faculty who are the scientists who are at LumCon work on that specific issue in a variety of different mechanisms. And so they will get firsthand experience in terms of what that means, but there will, what research on those kinds of ideas would look like, but they'll also, part of the training that they get will also be sort of short courses and homework and things like that associated with the sort of current coastal issues that we face in the state. So it's not just these kinds of coastal loss and climate change, but obviously overfishing, pollution, things along that line as well. And the idea is that a lot of that will also be, as you all are aware, these kinds of environmental issues often face underrepresented, underserved groups more often. And so we'll particularly be looking at that as well. The fact that coastal loss disproportionately affects lower socioeconomic classes, groups of color. And so we want to focus on, there'll be very much a human component to the sort of education that we provide throughout that program.
Thank you both. Chancellor Pierre?
Yes, excellent presentation. And I just wanted to get some clarification. I have in my law school students with STEM backgrounds who are interested in environmental policy, water resources, and that kind of stuff. Are they eligible to apply for this opportunity, or is it strictly undergraduates?
It is strictly undergraduates, but I would love to potentially set up a meeting with you in which we could create a program in which we could serve the needs of your law students.
Okay, great. I'm up for it. So we'll get that rolling.
I will follow up with an email later today with you. We're LumCon is a service. We're service based for the consortium. So my goal and my role is to figure out what is the missions of your individual campuses? How can we accelerate those? How can we be value added into your campuses? And we have a lot of flexibility to bring new programs, start up new programs that serve those needs. The other thing that I should have mentioned during this presentation is, and it's worth mentioning, is I don't have faculty of color and largely the staff of LumCon is white. And so the question, and of course, as I talked about the statistics, there's not a lot of opportunity for interactions of students, especially of color, to interact with role models in the field. And so we've thought seriously about how to address that. We are engaging with a group called Black and Marine Science, which is largely a graduate student organization. And so we'll be engaging with them about having a sort of an open forum with them so they can interact with the undergraduates here to talk about what life in graduate school is like, but also each of my faculty, all of us at LumCon, not just the faculty, but my educators, even my facilities, we're all going through mentoring training this spring as well ahead of this program, specifically focused on mentoring students of color. A lot of us have backgrounds in that as well, but we wanted to get additional training in that as well to try to, we're really aimed at trying to making this program as successful as possible.
Great, thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Other questions? Okay, I don't see any additional questions. Craig, thank you so much. We'll get the one pager out. We'll get the PowerPoint out. A couple of you have asked about both the PowerPoints. So hopefully you all will help us to ensure that we have a class of HBCU students this summer participating in the STEM program at LumCon. We think that will be very important for our students. We can't sit by and say there's just not enough representation and not intentionally design programs to expand representation and continue to build on the programs to make them better and better. So please help us to do that. Craig will be in touch of your campuses, but again, you'll get the flyer with the point of contact and all the information. Thank you so much, Craig. Appreciate you.
All. Appreciate it.
Very excited about it. I took my team to LumCon for our retreat and really enjoyed it and learned a lot. And I cannot tell you how much fun it is to be on an airboat, just saying. So more to come on that. Before we start our around the room with our HBCUs, I believe Senator Boudreaux is on. Did we still have Senator Boudreaux? Yes. Senator Boudreaux, I know we're very excited about the session, the regular session, the historic higher education budget that has been proposed. You have been a phenomenal champion for education and for our HBCUs. I wanted to give you an opportunity to just say a word or two for us as we prepare for the session, as we prepare to make our case. What do you think? What should we expect? What advice do you have for us as we move forward?
Thank you for the opportunity, and thank you and the team for the agenda and the presentations that that you bring to this board. There are a lot of busy people on this board, and the time is being well spent. So as it relates to the legislature, I think as we've talked before, we have to continue with the basketball title of the full court press. I think we have done a great job the last 2 years of having all of our resources. When we talk about the alumni, and of course, you know, Senator Gallo wrote the book on this when he was in, the squeaky wheel gets the oil, okay? And the governor has done his part in the proposed budget by doing a lot of things that will move the needle for us in a very monumental way. But I would encourage us to continue with all of our groups and organizations on campus, all of our alumni, every opportunity we have to make contacts with those who will be making these decisions. We actually start Senate finance hearings on next week to go over those proposed budgets. But I would encourage real strongly that the engagement on behalf of our HBCUs continue at an all-time high. You know, at one point we had to wait till the last day, the last hour to see what we would get. Now the governor has increased the allocation. The legislature has at least have some more awareness. So my ask is that we stay engaged in this process from now until June when it's all said and done, but to also educate and inform those who are part of our HBCUs as to the role. Look, we don't just have African Americans that represent those areas. When we talk about our HBCUs, we also have Caucasians. And for some reason, we give them a free ride. We never call them and tell them, you know, let's invite them on campus. Let's do some things. And even if they can't come, the more calls they get, the more awareness, the more sensitivity that level rises, so that it's more than just a line in a budget. We're talking about students, we're talking about performances. And as we've always said, it's easy to fund it on the front end than on the back end when we're not successful. So you know, Senator Fields on the Senate side is head of education. committee, and as much as support as we could give him on his initiatives, and that we work together, I think we'll be successful. But it's unprecedented. These are the highest numbers that have ever been in a proposed budget. Now it goes through scrutiny, and if we're not at the table, then we start getting cut.
Got it. Thank you so much. I certainly don't want to get to the round robin conversation with the HBCU presidents without asking you about the redistricting session, which I know is supposed to end this week. Comments about where we are and what we can expect to see.
So, yes, thank you again. So actually the Senate is not meeting today. We're going to come back tomorrow, and it looks like we're going to adjourn tomorrow. So as you all are familiar with, it's the process. And while we don't have the numbers to garner any of those maps, we've been successful in introducing enough different options. And our hope and our prayer is that there's already been litigation filed, and that it ends up in a court that is aware and sensitive that there are needs. So when we talk about the various maps, whether it's the Bessie map, whether it's the Supreme Court, the House, the Senate, any of those maps that didn't make it out of committee on the Senate side, and there's I think one in the House that have made it out. We've been able to document the record that there are some opportunities there if there's a will. There's a way to create more districts so that we are equally represented. And our legislators have been successful, in my opinion, of putting that on the record, putting it on the table, so that when this moves, I mean, it was a foregone conclusion that there were enough votes in the House and the Senate to pass whatever the president and the speaker put their name on. We were fortunate in the Senate with all but one map to have the entire Democratic and the African American representation vote against each and every one of those. They were able to peel off a few in the House, but there's still a majority of members in the House that understand the significance of sticking together and creating that record. So it looks like we'll be adjourning sometime tomorrow afternoon late. And that'll end phase one or round one of this event. And then, if we had a crystal ball, I would say, the litigation will start, and some of it will move and some of it will not. But hopefully it'll land in a court that will look at it and say that with 33% of the population African American in this state, and when we look at the districts that have been in place for years and years and years, there's got to be a better way to do this. So stay tuned in that process. Also stay tuned, because it's only round one. And in closing, I'll say, we met with the governor on yesterday, and he's looking at all options. There's the ability for the governor to veto these maps that have been approved, primarily by a Republican legislature. He has that opportunity. He has the opportunity to sign them, not sign them, and just let them go in the law, and let's see where it goes in court. But all of those options are being reviewed now, and even the legislators, more so in the House, that voted with the speaker on the maps that we didn't feel best represented our state and the people that predominated the African American communities. I think the governor in the next couple of days and his team are reaching out to those, and that's primarily, those again, members of the House who voted with the maps. They're going to reach out and see where would they be in a veto message. So all of those are on the table. So I would say tomorrow looks like round one of redistricting will end, and round two, which is going to be the litigation side of it, will begin.
Thank you so much, Senator, for that information, certainly for your insight and your support. And I can say to you all, and I know you know this already to be true from your own lived experience, anytime I have a question, need some guidance, support, thoughts, Senator Boudreaux is at the ready with great advice and great support. And so just thank you so much, Senator, for all that you do, for your leadership. We're really grateful. All right, I want to make sure that we hear from you all. As we always do, we have a roundtable discussion. There are so many things in the environment, from campus safety issues to, wonderful opportunities to advance grants and other things that are happening on our campuses. So this is an opportunity for us to hear from you about where you are on a number of issues. I want to start with Dr. Belton, who, as you all know, has been smiling a lot because he is trying to exit stage left. I think Dr. Gallo mentioned that every time we see him, he's looking happier and younger, but that's what happens when that retirement gets closer, right, Dr. Belton?
That's exactly right. Forgive me, apparently I don't have my video on. I was literally, we were speaking about transitioning earlier this morning, but I have literally transitioned from one office to another. And so forgive me not having the video, but it is truly a pleasure, as always, to be afforded the opportunity to engage with my colleagues. And so with to the point, and I am smiling, you should know that. But to the point, with regard to a safety update, as you know, Southern University was one of the institutions more recently who had to respond to a bomb threat. And as a result, we have had even more meaningful relationships with federal agencies. I would have to say that over the course of time, our partnerships with law enforcement has been, very substantial and meaningful. But more recently, we have committed to meeting monthly with the various law enforcement agencies locally and monthly with federal agencies such as the FBI, who has pledged to, review our infrastructure and as well as to, offer a guidance to us, whether it be for, isolated instances such as what occurred a couple of weeks ago, or for a number of other matters that may compromise student safety on our respective campuses. You should know, if I speak of the Southern University Baton Rouge landmass, we benefit from our proximity to the river. And so the river is a natural boundary and buffer for the university. We actually have 3 public entrances on campus, and of those 3, 2 are controlled accesses, have controlled access by way of checkpoints, to the university. And so it really enabled us to monitor who comes on campus and to log those visitors who are engaging with us, particularly in the residential area where students are residing. We open that up from 7 to 10 o'clock. And our main campus that opens from 8 to 6:30 on Harding Boulevard. I should point out that at 5:30 each day, we close all access points except one, and that is the access point on Harding Boulevard. And so after 5:30, all traffic is routed to Harding. And for guests and or students to come on campus, they have to show either ID or to log in to give indication of who they're visiting with. I think like most of our institutions in the state, of course, we have poor stations and we have a JAG Safe app in our case, where we are able to disseminate mass communication in the event of any type of emergency. And that has really worked well for us. And actually our students, we haven't, at one time, many of our students were not, had not downloaded the app, but I'm pleased to say that a large majority, a high percentage of our students have done so. And as a matter of routine, we have license plate readers and things of that nature. So, you know, it's a ongoing challenge, as it would be, particularly in this climate of hate in some respects, you know, but I'm confident in knowing, quite frankly, that we are working with a number of partners and we are learning from each other as colleagues as to the precautionary measures that we could take, you know, to ensure the safety of our employees and students. So I'll stop there, Madam Commissioner, and if there are any other inquiries, I'm willing to engage in the discussion.
Thank you so much, Chancellor Belton, President Belton. Really appreciate that. And you know, the bomb threats. I mean, there's so much distressing news, as you've said, in an environment of hate, and yet we are 1,000% committed to keeping our students safe and educating and moving them forward, no matter what. And I know that you are standing strong and making sure that we're doing everything we can on the safety front, but that we are making sure that we will not be moved in a way of fear to step away from our commitment to educate our students. So I thank you for that. I know these are challenging times on top of challenging times.
Yes, yes.
Great. So thank you so much, Dr. Belton. So next will be Dr. Amons from SUNO, and then I'm not sure if someone is on from SUSLA, but SUNO, then SUSLA.
Thank you, Commissioner. And I want to say to you and to my colleagues on the HBCU Advisory Council, today's agenda was just fantastic. These new opportunities that are being made available for our students are really encouraging. And to Senator Boudreaux for all of the great work that he has done and continues to do. We look forward to this legislative session and all of the work that you and your colleagues would do. But let me say this, and I want to echo some of the sentiment that President Belton just made. With all of these new exciting educational opportunities that are being created for our students, we have to deal with issues around securing our campuses. And it's just the reality today, but we have to be prepared. And Commissioner, as you said, we cannot be afraid. And we have to continue to develop partnerships as we have been doing. As a matter of fact, the institutions in the Southern University system began these relationships, for instance, with the Department of Homeland Security through Memoranda of Understanding quite some time ago. And after the first round of bomb threats, our colleagues from the U.S. Department of Homeland Security reached out to Chancellor Pierre and to me. First of all, with the sigh of relief that, you know, nothing happened, that these were just threats. But they also offered to assist the campuses of the Southern University system in reviewing our safety protocols. And of course, we accepted. And so the administrators of the Southern University system, our public safety officers, participated in a safety training that was conducted by the U.S. Secret Service. And that was done through Homeland Security. And that training and safety protocol review gave us some valuable information on how we can do an even better job of securing our campuses. From that training and review, we have developed a bomb threat call checklist. We've developed a communications plan, and we are implementing some of the protocols and practices, some of the additional ones that were recommended. As a matter of fact, I had to step out for a few minutes. We have officials from Homeland Security and the FBI on the campus here in New Orleans today, conducting a walkthrough and meeting with our police department. They are doing assessments on our building, talking about and giving advice on bomb threats, active shooters, as well as cybersecurity. And they also identified some potential threats that even I didn't realize until I spoke with them just a few minutes ago. There are fuel tanks that are located close to our campus. We have a railroad that has trains that carries chemicals more than passengers. And then there is also an industrial canal that is located near the campus. And all of these are safety threats that are now being assessed by both the FBI and the Department of Homeland Security. In addition to the training, we're also looking into grant opportunities and developing centers of excellence in areas like cybersecurity and other related areas to Homeland Security. So these are the things that are going on the campus here in New Orleans, but also across the Southern University system. And of course, President Belton, as well as my other colleagues, will give you additional information on the Southern University system.
Great. Thank you so much, Dr. Amons. Appreciate that, and really appreciate out of this challenge coming the resources to help walk the campuses and assess the campuses and strengthen and harden the campuses. Very important. Yes. Thank you for that. I don't know if anyone is on from SUSLA. Okay. Chancellor Pierre, Southern Law, and then Southern Ag.
Yes, ma'am. Again, good morning, everyone again. Dr. Ammons indicated the relationship we have with the Department of Homeland Security. I was able to go to a Region 4 meeting with the Department of Homeland Security in Atlanta, and we developed some great relationships. And Dr. Ammons, also, we created a great relationship in terms of connections. And then with Dr. Belton and Dr. Sahu, we also were participants in an FBI symposium opportunity, actually in September in Huntsville, Alabama, or late August, actually, in Huntsville, Alabama, which really came in timely because of the relationships we created with the FBI in New Orleans from that standpoint. Of course, we have been working seriously at the Law Center to upgrade technology possibilities to help us with security, and really are in discussions of making the Law Center what we call a smart tech building, which really enhances our technology capabilities and as it relates to safety. So all of these things are very, very important because if we can't keep our students safe, then we're going to be in a world of trouble. And, you know, we're talking about bomb threats. And on the day that those threats were made, there was an active shooter situation in Virginia. And then there was a similar threat at UCLA, which required them to go from in-person to virtual. And actually the person that made the threat was a former lecturer at UCLA in Los Angeles who was making the threats from Colorado. So these threats are ever present, and unfortunately, campuses and university facilities are really soft targets, and we have to do more to harden the security behind these institutions. Otherwise, we're all at risk at all times.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for that, Chancellor Pierre. We'll look forward to learning more about the smart tech building concept and the work that you all are pursuing. Thank you. Chancellor McMeans, and then
Yes,
Dillard.
okay. Yes, thank you. I would say that the Ag Center really benefits from the leadership of President Belton and our excellent team of individual who deals in security for the university, since we are located for the most part on the Baton Rouge landmass. I will say we had a visit last week, and we hosted the Deputy Secretary of USDA, who I was really happy to be on campus, and she is the first African-American woman in the history of the United States to hold that position. And one of the things she was talking to us about is security or securing facilities in which USDA dollars are used. And this is quite timely, and there are resources out there. One of the unique things about us, we have 2 satellite campuses, so to speak. Of course, we have our Southwest Center in Opelousas, and then we have our research station out on Scenic. And those have full-time staff. And so what we're doing is making an extra effort to secure not only those facilities, but those properties. The other thing that we're looking at, we placed on our website 4 different documents, one on explosion, cybersecurity, bioterrorism, and attacks in crowded spaces and public places. Also, will be in the next month having a Zoom meeting with the faculty and staff of the Ag Center to talk about some of these areas, as well as get experts in to talk about security facilities at the university. Even with the A.O. Williams building, which is being renovated, we found that we have to have it more secure. It wasn't secure enough. And then, of course, we have animals. It gets so broad when you talk about security. And I just didn't think about those things until these acts of terror started impacting our university. And then when you start talking to the experts and they go walk, the research station or the work farm or our building, you find out how vulnerable you are. So although this has been something that I wish wouldn't happen to our institutions, it also has forced us to grow and become more of a secure campus. So I'm looking forward to working with my colleagues across the system and sharing information on how we can be better secured as a Southern University system. And I appreciate this conversation because it is a good one. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Chancellor. Appreciate that. Dr. Kimbrough had to step away. So Dr. Gallo, President Gallo, can I come to you next?
Absolutely. And thank you so much for this opportunity. Like my colleagues, we have had great support from our state and federal partners. Just since, I guess, November, we've had campus assessments conducted by Louisiana State Police, Louisiana National Guard, Department of Homeland Security. We also thankful to our friends at LSU Police Department and State Police who came a couple of weeks ago to do an assessment as well. So without getting into the specifics of those findings and vulnerabilities, let me say that we are, I think, all looking at safety and security a lot differently now. And although we were not a target of the bomb threats this year, we were, I think, approximately 3 years ago, which obviously gave us an opportunity to laser focus on being prepared. So when this round came, we activated as if we were a part of that, had a team to come in and do a sweep, sent out our notification. So these are opportunities to test your systems and make sure that you're prepared in the event that it is a real threat. So again, we're all moving forward. Madam Commissioner, would probably like to suggest at some point in the not too distant future that we could have a convening that would be more or less public, I would say. And of course, there are protections of certain things due to safety plans, so that we can talk a little bit more intimately and specifically about what we're all doing, so that we can utilize the collective strength of keeping our campuses safe.
We will absolutely do that. Thank you so much. I can't let you transition without hearing about this NASCAR, this big G car. You got to tell us about that.
Well, I tell you, God is good. Let me start there. And so one of our, I don't know if anybody's got a picture of it. One of our alums he's the only minority owner of a NASCAR racing team. John Cohen owns New York Racing. And we have been in discussions with John for a little over a year on how we could harness our collective interest in promoting Grambling. And lo and behold, John found a way to do it. So we are now looking forward to seeing that number 44 Grambling branded vehicle, along with Urban Edge Network, is also prominently featured on the car. Again, I think Cammie had a picture, but I don't know if she's able to share that to put it up for everyone to see. But it's really exciting, and and obviously as we're looking at this as one of those blue ocean strategy moments where HBCUs are not typically prominently exposed in the NASCAR arena. We are certainly incredibly grateful for the opportunity to, at 200 miles an hour, share the Graham fam story. So thank you for giving me that opportunity.
Absolutely. And if you guys have not seen the car on social media, we will send you a photo when we send the PowerPoints because it is fabulous.
And a number of Southern alumni have made me aware of that automobile.
So a Southern NASCAR coming soon. And I see President Kimbrough has come back. Thank you so much, Walter. I'll turn it over to you next. Oh, wait, there's the car. Okay, there you go.
Nice.
How about that?
That's nice.
Very nice.
I am now a NASCAR fan, officially.
I want to see Rick drive it, though. I won't be impressed until you drive it.
Oh.
No, sir, I will stay in my lane. And there's only one seat in there, so I'm not a passenger in it either. No, sir, I leave that one to the professionals.
Well, just really quickly for us, once the threats began, we've been able to monitor like everyone else. We sent out an announcement to campus on the 1st of February after there were a number on that day, the first day of Black History Month, just to remind people this is what our process will be. And then I sent out another update after I think Department of Homeland Security, FBI had a call for HBCUs. So I think there's been a lot of resources that are placed. Now it's just sort of sporadic. I mean, there were, Howard and Fisk yesterday. So it's trying to figure out how to move through and not be so disruptive. There was a threat at North Carolina A&T maybe a week ago, but they didn't stop any of their operations. So they figured out a way how to, verify it quickly and not disrupt. They didn't cancel anything. So I think we're going to have to try to figure out how to do some of those things to continue to be safe, but to be able to assess more quickly the veracity of any threats that there might be. Because until they catch, because they really need to catch someone and really get people to stop doing this. If not, they're just going to keep doing it with the main goal being disruption. So we're just monitoring like everyone else. I think we found out we have an alum who works for Homeland Security who might do a special, sort of presentation for our campus community just to get some additional intel about it. But, we're learning like everyone else. And you never know who's going to be next and if it's going to happen again. So I think that's just the unnerving part for everyone. But that's sort of where we are right now, just following like everyone else.
Thank you, Walter. Let me just ask, I know that, you all have spoken about, obviously, your leadership, the resources that have come to bear. How are our students doing? Given they've had so much disruption and then this on top. Walter, I don't know if you want to speak to that, or Rick, or anyone, anything that we can do or need to be aware of in terms of our students?
Well, it's actually, I have an intern who's on the call. So Jayla, I'm gonna let you jump on. I think we should hear from Emmanuel as well. He can weigh in. Emmanuel owes me lunch too. Let me go on and put that out there too. So Jayla, you want to say a couple things real quick?
Okay, so hello everyone. My name is Jayla Ritchie, and as President Kimbrough said, I'm his executive intern. I'm a third-year junior here at Dillard. Really, coming in 2019, we have not had a regular year, quote unquote, regular normal year yet. With COVID, the hurricanes, pandemic, it's really been hard for us to adjust. And so really what we need is a sense of normalcy, and because we've never actually had that approach. So I think the updates are really comforting, even though administration may not know what's going on. I think keeping us updated really helps, because we don't want to be sporadically displaced again, or, have to go home, or like, we just want to know the cause of action. So I think just keeping people updated really plays a big factor in our comfortability.
Thank you, Jayla.
Yes, thank you. Did you have another student, Walter, that you
I was
wanted
just
to
saying,
have?
we have Emmanuel from Xavier and they've been impacted directly. I know he's part of our group, so I think we should hear from him.
Yes, thank you, Dr. Kimbrough. I appreciate that. There I am. All right. Yes, I appreciate it. It's an honor to be on this council again. I appreciate this opportunity. Yeah, I think Jalen hit it on the head there, especially as a class of 2022, we had 1.5 good years, right? So up until from August 2018 to March of 2020 is really the only time that we've had what we'd call a normal college experience. The one thing that I know about the state, and I say it all the time, is the resiliency of the state. I think students who come here have to understand this state bounces back all the time. So we're used to different situations and circumstances. That being said, especially what Jalen said, transparency, I think, is important. Keeping students in the loop as much as possible with what's going on would really help the students understand the part that they play here in this institution. To the degree that the administration can share what's happening, I think it'd really help with student life and help the students. It would increase our confidence in the administration and in the university at large.
Thank you. Thank you for that. And know that we are working hard to get you more than 1.5 good years. Working very hard at that. Working very hard at that. So, but really, really appreciate those comments. I think that we've covered all of the HBCUs. Is there anyone else who, I don't know if anybody joined from SUSLA. If not, let me cover a couple of other items. First of all, Erin, did we have public comments?
No, we haven't.
Okay, thank you, Melissa. Appreciate that. Okay, under other business, a couple of things I want to mention. We are, first of all, congratulations to Xavier for the selection as one of 6 HBCUs to serve as a co-design partner for the $2.5 million initiative to drive digital learning innovation. This is a co-design effort with Complete College America, select HBCUs, and Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, which will soon be, I guess, Bill Gates Foundation, since Melinda is doing a different thing at this point. But we certainly look forward to hearing more from President Verrett on that initiative. And keep sending us information about the cool initiatives and things that you're working on. We want to continue to amplify those. Our next meeting will coincide with HBCU Day at the Capitol, and I see Representative Hughes is here, and I know Senator Boudreaux is here, so we're looking forward to Tuesday, May 24th. Fingers crossed that we will be in person and beyond strict COVID protocols, but our publicity chairs, Dr. Kimbrough and President Gallo, will be working with us on details. We intend to change it up a little bit. We're going to host an afternoon event at the Pentagon Barracks grounds. But we'll be on the lookout for a save the date for Tuesday, May 24th, so that we can get all of your campuses engaged and involved. And of course, every day is a great day to talk about the power of HBCUs, but I did want to mention that Strata has a presentation this afternoon at 1 about the enhanced values of HBCUs. As you know, they have been collecting data. They do a number of public opinion surveys and others, and they're going to talk about their Urban Institute Center on Education, Data, and Policy, to talk about the favorable experiences of students at HBCUs and their post-completion outcomes compared to other peers. We know this data well. Our students say people believe in them, that they had good success, and they're more likely to say that they appreciated and valued their experience at an HBCU. So a link was sent in the meeting reminder earlier if you would like to participate in that Strata presentation today, 1 o'clock this afternoon. So let me check to make sure in the chat. Okay, I don't see any other questions or comments. You all have asked about the PowerPoints. Those will be sent to you. Just recapping, Preston will make sure that the K-12 STEM work is sent out to everyone so that high school students can participate. Dr. McLean's information about the STEM summer initiative for our fully funded for our 10 students, that goes out to you. Please help us to populate that. Chancellor Pierre, you will be reaching back out to LumCon or them with you to see what we can do specialized for law school students who are interested in environmental justice. I think those are all of my notes. Is there anything else to come before the council? Nothing in the chat. No one has raised their hand. Is there a motion to adjourn? Motion by President Gallo, second by Chancellor Pierre. I assume we have no opposition. I hope you guys have a great day. Thank you all so much for a phenomenal meeting and for your great work. Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.